What's up, everybody? Mike Chase here, back again with a really early wish listy video. College Football 26 has been out now for about a month, I would say, and my genuine opinion of the game, honestly, this is kind of going to be it's not a review right here, but I think it's a bit of a step back from College Football 25. I think it's a step back on the gameplay front. It's still a very good playing game. I think in the past 5 years, in terms of football games, this is probably the second best football game that's been put out. But that's not saying a lot, because there hasn't been a lot of good football games put out recently. Mostly we've only had Madden, and those have been very not good. But I just think it's a bit of a step back in a couple different ways. But I think what's tough about it is there's a lot of good things. I think they made some good quality of life changes. I think there were some good changes to adding in the new positions, right? We have actual true edge, different linebackers. We have nose tackles, all this other stuff that we didn't have before. Now we have. So I think that's a positive. But I think there's a few areas where they went wrong. And there's some things I hope they fix. I think some of those are gameplay things, and we're going to talk about that here today in this video. Number one on this list is going to be, let's start with, I think, one of the more obvious things if you're a Dynasty player. There hasn't really been any proper nil integration into Dynasty mode yet. That's just something that's not there. And I'm talking about like actual, sort of contract offers, school boosters, regional endorsement deals. There's some other things that I guess you could view in Dynasty in terms of your pitches that are maybe kind of more surface level, like brand exposure. I suppose that could kind of be construed for nil, but we don't really have that sort of nil craziness that you see in real life in college football. That's not really in college football at all. Really, it's not even in Dynasty. It's all kind of just surface level stuff. I really want to see it make an impact on recruiters, on like recruiting, transfers, player happiness in your program, right? Maybe players aren't too happy about the role in the team, but because of the nil packages that your school can offer, they're willing to stay. Things like that. Maybe that can keep a player from transferring if you have a good nil program. I just think that's something that should be integrated into Dynasty. It's such a big part of college football right now that we don't really see it featured in college football and EA Sports college football really at all, at any level. So that's something I kind of want to see added into College Football 27 from the Dynasty mode to Road to Glory as well. Number two on here, the college football playoff rankings, I think, need a fixing. And I actually think this may go a little bit further into, I actually think potentially, if we're being honest, I think there's a very good chance that the sim engine as a whole needs a fixing. It's still based, I think, really on the Madden sim engine, which is really based on playbooks. The current sim engine is just far too optimized for playbooks as opposed to actual team ratings, things like that. That's why, if everyone has noticed, in your Dynasty, we're about a month in now, we can say it. Let's talk about it. Duke seems to be just a team that's just constantly doing very well, which is just very odd. Okay, look, Duke is not some powerhouse. I don't think Duke is projected to make the college football playoff or even win a college football playoff game or even win the whole damn thing, but yet Duke is constantly popping up in here. So I think that needs to be changed. So I think this is college football playoff rankings need to be fixed. Now, granted, that might be hard because we don't know what that format is going to be, I think, next year. I think they're still discussing that in terms of auto buys with the big conferences. So maybe, but my complaint here, I feel it's a little too easy for kind of these, non-power conference teams to get into that top 12 and get into the college football playoff. Well, my complaint might be fixed if the Big Ten and the SEC kind of have their way with them. I believe they both want like 3 bids automatically off rip. I think the other conference would get like 2 bids automatically, and then there'd be like 2 spare bids for non-power teams. So maybe my complaint will be fixed naturally anyways, but if that's not the case, I do want it to be a little more difficult to get into the college football playoff, because right now I feel it's very easy to do that, and I think the sim engine does need to be reworked a little bit for College Football 27. I think, again, whatever reworking they're doing for Madden, going to have to do on the college football side of things to make sure it is more based on the ratings. I understand in their deep dive, they talked about why it can't just be purely based on the ratings because things get a little out of control. But there needs to be a proper balance to things. And right now, it's still far too heavily based on playbooks. Because if you're just going to sim a dynasty, you might as well pick Duke playbook and call it a day. And I just don't think that should be. It should matter more about the team you actually build, not the playbook you choose. So now, number 4 on this is going to be me. For me, I want to see the practice drills. I want to see the practice drills brought in from Madden. I think the preseason is a little, it's really menu heavy, which makes sense. I don't have a problem with that. I understand why it is. There's actually things to do in the preseason, in terms of the recruiting, position changes, upgrading your players. But I do want to see these drills that are in the game already in Road to Glory. I want to see them added to Dynasty mode. I don't really get that. Give us the mini camps, position battles, things like that. Let me, that's stuff I want to see. I have incoming freshmen. Let me use them in these drills. Maybe let me earn them some XP as well. Maybe give me the opportunity if I'm bringing in a 3-star quarterback. Hey, you know what? If I have a good preseason mini camp or whatever, maybe I can pick and choose which skill caps to get rid of, right? Give me a way to do that through gameplay as opposed to an ability. So I think that's something that would be pretty cool to see added to College Football 27. I think just add some spice to the off season as opposed to just keeping it entirely menu based and kind of the way it's been now for College Football 25 and 26. Add in those drills, get them in the game. You don't have to do it like Madden where it's something you do every week, because I just think it would get really boring to do those every week. So that's something I want to see added to College Football 27. Now, number 5 on this list, I'm going to have to be honest about these player models. And I'm not sure how I have to put this. I have to put this really nicely. Let's be honest here. We've all had the thought. We all know what we're seeing. We're all adults here. Well, most of us are. There are way too many players, black players, with bright orange, gingery hair. Far too many. I'm not trying to be a gatekeeper on hair or anything like that, but the player model randomizer clearly needs some work. I think let's clean that up a little bit, right? Let's diversity, awesome, great. I'm a mixed race guy, so yes, yay. But also this should be believable. And when you go through Dynasty eventually, after like a year or two, it's like a lot of black guys who are gingers or have blonde hair. And it's like wavy white man hair. It's very distracting. It's very odd. I don't know what that's about. That needs to be fixed, I think, in College Football 27. Because right now it looks odd as hell. So let's get that fixed. It's a minor thing, but to me it is a big thing if you're a Dynasty player, because you're going to be looking at these players a lot. So let's get that fixed up, guys. Come on. Number 6, I want to see a better way to persuade players to stay or go in the transfer portal. Because I think right now the way it's done is kind of lazy. You just kind of hit a button and then that decides if the player stays or not. I think that, again, I think that's something that it just needs to be more than just a simple button press, right? Because right now, again, it's just one button. That's it. I think give us more. Bring back the promise system from the old NCAA football games. Let me promise a player playing time, right? Or a bigger role, things like that. Let me promise, hey, you know what? Maybe proximity to home is your issue. You know what? I'll try to schedule a game closer to your home state or whatever. Anything like that. And again, if I break my word on that, that should impact my coach prestige and whether or not players can trust me. So I think those sorts of things would really matter, right? Maybe that can hurt you with recruits in that state because word gets around like, hey, you know what? This coach really doesn't keep his word. So you know what? This isn't a guy that we need to trust. I think something simple that, again, it just adds a little, again, it's a little thing, but I think it adds a really nice element to the game. And I think that's something that is really important for Dynasty Mode. Just again, it just keeps things fresh. It just keeps things alive, I think. And that's what we're going to get with here on number 7 on this list. Number 7 on this list, Dynasty Mode needs to feel more alive, and Dynasty Mode should feel like a living, breathing Dynasty Mode, a living, breathing ecosystem. Right now, it kind of just feels like a spreadsheet with some turf, which is, your recruiting and then your game. News updates, real news updates, a halftime show that actually reacts to games across the country, because right now that's not really in here. A weekly wrap-up show I think would be really cool. These are all things that we're getting added to Madden this year, so I'm hoping that this is something that gets added in to College Football 27. I think it would just kind of make sense, right? You add in this big new feature in Madden, and then it gets added into College Football the following year. I think that's how we're going to see things go, because wear and tear got added to College Football 25. Now wear and tear is getting added to Madden 26. So maybe in Madden 26 you add in the halftime show and the weekly wrap-up show for Madden 26, and then those things make their way into College Football 27 next year. So I kind of hope that's kind of how we see these things go, right? You bring in a big feature one year, then it gets added into next year's college game, where you can further refine it into that game, and it makes both games better for all of us. So that's number 7 on this list. Also, we have something else coming up here that kind of deals with some more presentation stuff on number 8. Number 8, this is another thing that they've added to Madden 26, multiple presentation packages. And again, I can't believe I'm saying this, back-to-back things. Here's one, I never thought I'd have to say this, but take a page from Madden. Yes, really. Give us multiple presentation packages to keep the Dynasty Mode fresh. It doesn't have to be ESPN, it doesn't have to be Fox, it doesn't have to be NBC or CBS or the CW licenses, but I think you should draw a heavy inspiration from those packages. Like clearly last year's presentation package was really, I think, highly, based upon a mix of the NBC package and then kind of the Fox package. I think this year kind of feels more like the NBC package, and still kind of the NBC Fox package with kind of the sticker, grungy kind of look to it. So I think, just again, multiple presentation packages that come with kind of different camera angles, commentary teams, intros might feel a little bit different. Again, just it makes things feel just really unique from week to week. I think that's just how you keep people playing Dynasty. That's how you just keep it really fresh if you were to add something like that to the game. So that's something I want to see. Number 9, we're going to be talking about the gameplay here, and I really do feel that we maybe went a little too far in the, I don't know what to call this, but get back to the gameplay feel we had with College Football 25, where it felt like the game was a little bit more in our hands. I know there's been this big debate about sim and comp, and I don't really care about either of that, because these games will never be sim, right? These are video games. These games will never be 100% competitive because these are video games. This is the thing that really needs to be remembered here. These are video games. This is fictional. These are zeros and ones on our screen. This, at the end of the day, this should be fun. Fun. That should be the number one goal of these games. It should be fun. I know some people get their heads up their own ass talking about the simulation aspect. Look, that just basically means 11 on 11. Okay, that's all that means, right? That's all that means is that there's linemen and receivers and quarterbacks, and that's what the sim right means, right? It kind of looks like real football in terms of the players and things like that. It's, they're not like Blitz the League or any of those arcadey games. That's sim means nothing more than just that. It doesn't mean in terms of like it plays like real life 1-to-1. Like, no, it's a video game, okay? And in my opinion, this game, College Football 26, to play on the field, it's not as fun as College Football 25. It's just not. College Football 25 that played so much better than Madden 25. And College Football 26 still plays better than Madden 25, but it just feels like they took, there's this phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I feel like with Electronic Arts, or particularly with the EA teams that make these football games, they have a twisted sense of logic, and their logic is, if it's fixed, break it, right? Jet sweeps, they don't really work. They don't work at all this year. Were they too powerful last year? Yeah, they were. Okay, well, you should maybe fix it so the defense can better defend them. Their way of doing that is just breaking the play. So now no one runs that stuff. Outside runs in general are just kind of broken. If you have the shifty ability, you can, finagle your way and do that sort of stuff. But just like straight up, just like those are like, again, I've never liked that. That's for the longest time in terms of these EA football games. That's kind of something they've done where they just break stuff. And I don't really understand why they do that. It's kind of annoying. Like, please stop doing that. If you want to give a counter to something, go ahead and do that. I think that makes more sense as opposed to just breaking it. I don't understand that. Again, blocking is terrible. I'm sorry. There's no, you got to set your blocking to this or that, and what you just want to have all data back there to throw. No, guys are just not blocking people. They're just not putting hands to them. They just look at them and turn their feet and let them smash your quarterback. It's one thing if my lineman gets beat, fine, I can accept that. But I will not accept a lineman just kind of not blocking someone just because. That's not acceptable. That's not fun. And it's not sim. It's not good for people who play this game competitively. It's not good for people who play this game in Dynasty for fun. It's just not good. Fix it. Get that fixed. That needs to be fixed. It needs to be better. I really don't understand why we're still talking about blocking being broken the way it is when you constantly brag about the fact that, we have Clint Oldenburg here. He played. He's a real lineman. Yeah, he's an ex-lineman for a goddamn reason based on how the hell the blocking is coded in this game. Because if it's coded based on how he played, it's no wonder why he didn't last in the NFL. Get it fixed. Get this guy out of here if he can't do the job. I'm tired of talking about this every year. Get it fixed. And number 10 on this list, I actually have one more I want to talk about. Road to Glory needs more positions. We just need more playable positions. All right, let us play as an edge rusher. Let us play as defensive tackle. Let us play as a safety. Those are the three positions people want to play as. If you don't want to add in offensive linemen or punters or kickers, I don't have an issue with that. I truly don't. I know some people do. It's like, well, you could do it in the PS2 games. I don't care what you can do in the PS2 games. I don't. Sorry. You know what I mean? Like, I really am like, sorry. I don't care. I get why they would feel like we have limited time. We can't waste some of that valuable time making it so you play as a center. I totally get that. I totally get that. That makes 100% sense to me. You have limited time. You can't waste that time making so you can play as a center. Makes sense. But we should be able to play as an edge rusher. We should be able to play as a defensive tackle. And we should, for the love of God, be able to play as a safety. And if we can't do that because, you know what, hey, the Madden team, kind of fucked us again, and we can't, guarantee that you'll be able to export that player into Madden, fine, just put that on there and just have it say, these players, these positions might not be able to be played in Madden. You might not be able to transfer this player to Madden because the Madden team can't get its shit together. To me, that's fine. I don't really care, honestly. But I'm not even that big of a Road to Glory, guys. But these are really key positions in football. I was going to say in the NFL. They are, but these are key positions in football. You should be able to play as an edge rusher. You should be able to play as a defensive tackle. You should be able to play as a safety, like I've said earlier. Those are three positions on the defense I think people would really want to play as. I think it would be a lot more fun to play those positions as opposed to playing, I think, a corner, right? I think playing a safety, kind of being a ball hawk safety, crashing down, I think that'd be a lot of fun. You know, playing as an edge rusher, trying to get off the edge. Maybe, you know, again, that'd be fun. Playing as a defensive tackle, that'd be fun. So I think those are things that we need to get into the game. Get those in the road to glory. Tell the Madden team, get off their ass. Get those positions playable in Madden for Superstar mode. But just get them in the game, please. And my last thing here, number 11. I'm giving you 11. I'm giving you an odd number. Redo the coaching archetype trees. Redo the abilities for coaches. Because I feel like what's been done this year was the wrong way to do things. They just were. You know, recruiter, the coaching ability recruiter was completely nerfed this year. It just was. And it was nerfed in a way where now, if you ask me, recruiter, it doesn't make any sense for anyone to ever pick recruiter. I don't say to pick and start your career as a recruiter. I don't think it makes sense for you to ever spend on recruiter whatsoever. It is not worth it. The tier abilities suck. Like just base recruiter, they're terrible, right? Let's take a look at them. Quarterbacks take less time to fully scout. You're really only scouting during the preseason when you're originally setting your board, when you get your players on the board and then you scout them. I don't really need that. Increased starting interest from quarterbacks. When you offer them a scholarship, that's when you get that big increased starting interest. That doesn't really, you know, so you'll get it from other ways, so that doesn't matter. Quarterback transfers are more interested. It's easy to get people in the portal without this, so that doesn't really matter. Increased chance to sway quarterbacks. You don't really use, at least me personally, I don't use sways that often. If a player just doesn't have good like pitches, I just don't recruit them. I was like, I'll just find someone else. There's enough recruits out there. I don't need to do that. So again, recruiter just base level stinks. But then to unlock elite recruiter, you need to sign 2 top 5 classes. And then you need to spend 50 points in recruiter already. And then the abilities, the tier abilities, cost 12 points per upgrade. These are boost to ideal pitch grades for quarterbacks. That's good. Your school has a larger impact on, I'm saying quarterbacks, this can go for any position. School grades have a larger impact on quarterbacks. Recruiting actions give a bonus to quarterbacks. That's tier 3. And then tier 4, increase weekly recruiting hours for quarterbacks, or any position of that matter, in case someone's getting confused here. Those are all good. Those are the good abilities. If these were like just in base recruiter would still be worth it. But my guess is, like I've mentioned earlier in this video, they saw that everyone would start as a recruiter. Get these, a lot of the, at least 2 of these were, I forgot which ones were in kind of base recruiter, and they kind of just mixed things up a little bit. They probably saw through all their data that, okay, well, everyone picked recruiter, so let's make sure people pick the other coaching abilities, and let's change up recruiter and let's make it a little bit worse. The issue with that is they have made recruiter so much worse that now nobody picks it. It's not worth picking, right? The base recruiter abilities stink. They're not worth picking. The same way that elite recruiter in College Football 25 kind of stunk. These stink, so it's not worth picking. Now, the issue with that is that means everyone's just going down the motivator path this year, right? You do a motivator and then you do tactician, right? Because you get increased tier 1 motivator ability is an interest boost for quarterback recruits when a quarterback hits a skill cap. Well, that's better than really any of the tier 1 the base recruit abilities. So why even pick recruiter when you can just go down motivator and you get a stronger, better ability for your recruits in motivator? It's better to do that. So I think they need to undo these changes that they made to recruiter, kind of get it back to more what it was in College Football 25, because then I feel like those 3, base abilities, recruiter, tactician, motivator, were actually pretty good. My other thing with the coach abilities that need to be done here is I think architect needs to be taken out of the game. I think strategist needs to be taken out of the game. And I think talent developer need to be taken out of the game. I think these abilities just don't really make a lot of sense. I think some of these abilities, let's go again with quarterbacks. This is for architect. Can't stop, won't stop. Quarterbacks earn an XP bonus for every 3-game win streak. You can just put that into tactician or motivator. Field study. Quarterbacks earn additional XP for in-game goals. You can put that into tactician. Tier 3. Limitless. Chance to increase a random skill cap when leveling up. You can put that in motivator. Put a ring on it. Chance to increase best skill cap with a conference or national title. You can put that ability into motivator. These do not need to be their own coach ability. Get rid of them. These are worthless. To unlock this, also to unlock architect, you need to win 4 rivalry games. By the time you accomplish this, depending on what school you have taken, you've already likely built a powerhouse program. That's why a lot of these extra abilities, in my opinion, don't make any sense. Then we can look at strategist. Let's take a look here. Making friends. Boost the complimentary visits for quarterbacks. You can put this in recruiter. Visits have a bigger impact on quarterback prospects. You can put that into recruiter. Lower the bar. Quarterbacks have a lower deal breaker threshold. You can put that into recruiter. Increased chance to learn dev trait of quarterbacks on visits. You can put that into recruiter. Everything in strategist should just be in recruiter. In this one, you have to win 4 bowl games. By the time you have won 4 bowl games, you've likely already built a powerhouse program. Your 3rd bowl game win will likely come in when you make the college football playoff at that point. This is stupid. This is redundant. You can get rid of strategist. It doesn't need to be its own ability that you have to, unlock and spend 12 points per tier upgrade. Now let's look at talent developer. Pay it forward. Bonus XP when quarterbacks are drafted. You can put that into motivator. You can do that. Same with the tier 2. Freshman and sophomore quarterbacks progress faster. That can go into motivator. Starting quarterback will gain XP faster. You can put that into tactician. Home sweet home. Boost the pipeline bonus for quarterbacks. You can put that into recruiter. This doesn't need to be its own ability. It just doesn't. All of these extra abilities, architect, strategist, talent developer, those can go into these other abilities. The same with CEO and program. CEO, win 2 national championships. This is, again, why is this even, by the time you have done this, the rebuild's over. You're done with your dynasty. You're moving on to a new school, a new dynasty, a fresh dynasty save. No one's getting to these. Okay, let's take a look at some of them. Increase the chance a player upgrades their dev trait. A second chance keeper. Spend a second persuade on a player if the first fails. I mean, all of these can just be bundled in to the other 3 main coaching abilities. Okay, we don't need these ones. Program builder. Win 5 playoff games. You've already won probably multiple championships at this point. The rebuild's done. It's over. Stability improvements. Let's look at this one. Forever home. Coordinators are less likely to leave in the coaching carousel. They're already a lot likely to leave. Deal sweetener. Coordinators are more likely to accept your job offer. I've never had a coordinator not accept my job offers. Cream of the crop. Increase the caliber of coordinators available for you to hire. By the time who would need this? By the time you have done this, you have already won 5 playoff games. You've already won a championship. This isn't needed. Let's take a look at another one. Set the tone. Home field advantage. Increased home field advantage composure penalties for away team at home. That's against the CPU. I guess, like, this is a good ability, I suppose, if you're in a dynasty with friends, but how long is a dynasty with friends really going where you've unlocked Program Builder? Unless you're just using real coaches already. Number 2, protection from home field advantage composure penalties on the road. This should be in Tactician. Increased protection from home field advantage composure effects in rivalry games. This should be in Tactician. So many of these should be in Tactician. Roster retention. Players with 3rd to 7th round draft projections are less likely to go pro. This should be in Motivator. Players with 2nd round projections are less likely to go pro. This should be in Motivator. Delay Sunday. 1st round projected players are less likely to leave for the NFL. This should be in Motivator. Faster progression. This should be in Motivator. Relationship Builder. Upgrade your school's 2 best pipelines by 1 tier. This should be in Recruiter. Upgrade your school's 5 best pipelines by 1 tier. This should be in Recruiter. Upgrade your school's 5 worst pipelines by 1 tier. This should be in Recruiter. Strong Roots. Tier 1. Boost to your primary pipeline. This should be in Recruiter. Household Name. Boost to starting interest for recruits from your primary pipeline. This should be in Recruiter. Hometown Discount. Recruits from your primary pipeline gain extra influence boost. This should be in Recruiter. So all of these abilities you can just put in Recruiter. Maybe get rid of the idea of Elite Recruiter and just have all the tiers unlocked, and as we go up with these abilities, you have multiple abilities. Some of them cost 8, some of them cost 12, some of them cost 16. That's all you need to do. We don't need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 coach abilities. You can get rid of CEO, Program Builder, Architect, Strategist, and Talent Developer, and you can just rework those into the abilities that are already unlocked when you start a dynasty, which are, Recruiter, Motivator, Tactician. I did not expect to spend that long on that last one, but I did. Again, it's just something I kind of feel pretty strongly about. I think we played enough Dynasty here where we can recognize those other abilities we don't need. You can just rework all of the tiers that you have in those ones into into the other abilities that we have. So I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for watching this video. What did you think of this? Tell me down below what you think, what you want to see added to College Football 27, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.